How impressive CUC was Kyrie last night?
Very impressive. I think that for the first time that Kyrie's been in Boston, that this looked like his team. And he was playing the type of basketball, and for a number of different reasons. I think he's in the best shape that he's been in since he was in Boston. You could see that last night, almost playing 40 minutes. And the intensity for which he played at, I didn't think he was going to be able to maintain that after having a great first half. He was able to maintain that into the third quarter and finish him off with a great fourth quarter. So his ability now to be able to dominate the whole game compared to Celtics going to stay around, and then Kyrie is one of the best finishers that we have, closers that we have in basketball. Because last year, before he got hurt, that's what they talked about. This year, when they played some of their best basketball with him on the court, that's what they've talked about. But Kyrie Irving's a superstar. He can dominate the whole game. And for me, the first time, it was like this franchise was his. And I hadn't even heard until just now the sound bites coming after the game. And he talked about playing in this building, playing for this team, because them and the Lakers have the most storied history in the NBA. And to me, he finally, even though he didn't request going to Boston, he finally started to understand what Kyrie Irving in the Celtics green, what it could mean playoff time. So very impressed with how he played.
Kyrie was absolutely sensational. This was one of the best playoff games of his career, because this was the first great playoff game of his career where he had to be the guy, where he didn't have the guy playing alongside him, and they would have lost without him. Him playing as well as he had 37 points, and they're trailing with a minute left. They could have lost despite how well he played. He was brilliant in every quarter. It wasn't just the closing finish. He had 9+ points in every quarter of the game. He was consistent. And credit to Brad Stevens, because they were down 12 at the very start of the fourth quarter. The Pacers hit a 3. They then went ice cold. They hit a 3 to go up 12. Stevens stuck with his rotation. The Celtics go on an 8-0 run before Kyrie checks in to cut it to 4. And then Kyrie himself goes on an 8-0 run to turn a 12-point deficit into a 4-point lead. He was great, and the Celtics executed down the stretch in the final 2 minutes when the Pacers fell totally apart in the final couple minutes of this game. That's how the Celtics won this game and prevented the Pacers, who could have won, from stealing home court advantage.
Look, 2 weeks ago, the narrative surrounding this Celtics team was, sure, Kyrie's putting up great numbers, but this team doesn't seem to win when he's on the court. Can they flip a switch and make a run in the playoffs? Now you've seen 2 great games from Kyrie, who somehow has gotten the whole team involved. They seem to be on the same page. CC, are you buying that Kyrie and the rest of the team can now make a run?
It's going to be hard for them to make a run because, the Pacers were in control of this game. The Pacers could have won this game. Now, I like the way Kyrie was playing. I like that basically him and Tatum, they're going to take most of the shots for the Celtics. If they stay, that's the way they should be. They're 2 best offensive players, and you'll have Horford. He'll have a good game. You'll have Jalen. He'll chip in with a good game here. But I like the way they established with him and Tatum. Kyrie took over, was big late, and then Tatum closed them out with a couple of special plays at the end. I thought you made a great point about Brad Stevens and his overall adjustment, because this year he's been criticized more than any other season because this is the most talented roster, and sometimes people question his rotation, or is his coaching style good
conducive
with talent
for this much talent?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, listen, this was, to answer your question, Jenna, I still think the absolute ceiling for the Celtics is losing in the second round of the Bucks. I think that I don't think this is going to be a 4 or 5 game series against Indiana. I think Indiana looks at this series, they're down 0-2, and they say, in the first game, we held Boston to 84. It was just that we only scored 74. Indiana in game 1, in the third quarter, made 2 baskets. In game 2, in the fourth quarter, made 4 baskets. They fell apart offensively at the end, and credit to the Celtics defense. But the bigger picture to me, the bigger story is what Kyrie was able to do and what the Celtics were able to do when it looked like the Pacers were in control. Because they were. The Pacers were in control the entirety of the third quarter and then the start of the fourth quarter.
But is that not what we've seen in the regular season?
What do you mean?
Have they not been able to finish out games that suddenly they are able to hold on and finish out games?
Well, I mean, they almost won 50 games, so they weren't. It's not as if the Celtics were a disaster this year. They couldn't string together a 3-week stretch the way they wanted to.
A lot of the Celtics' disappointment had to do with expectations.
Yes.
We expect them to win more games than that. We expect them to be competing for a championship, representing the Eastern Conference. With the success that they had last year, Gordon Hayward, if he's healthy, Kyrie Irving, if he's healthy, Brad Stevens, one of the best minds that we have in the NBA, they're supposed to be competing for championships. So I think the expectations, and then they only get to 50 games, that right there it becomes the issue.
And to your point, you did it during the highlight. Yes, the Celtics go on a 16-0 run to turn a 12-point deficit into a 4-point lead. But with a minute left in the game, the Pacers are up 2 with the ball. And then 2 guys who have to be good for them, other than Kyrie, make great plays. Al Horford has a block. If he doesn't make that block, the Pacers are up 4 with 50 seconds left, and they're going to win that game. And then in transition, you find Tatum open in the corner. Tatum in this series now, he's 6 of 9 from 3. He's 17 of 31 overall. He's averaging 21 points per game. He has been that second star. Horford a little under the weather. Marcus Smart injured. So the Celtics, they needed a lot to happen just to win this game. So that's why I'm not ready to say it's solved in Boston. They flipped a playoff switch. But Kyrie, this was an important game for his career. This was an important game for him to know, I can play like I played in the playoffs alongside LeBron without LeBron being there. 37 points, incredibly efficient, distributing the basketball, and helped them come back in the fourth quarter from a double-digit deficit. A great game from Kyrie
And distributing is the key, finally getting everybody involved, which is what Brad Stevens has been trying to do all season. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.